when you cut the sod off, you want to take the sod cutter and go as deep as you possibly can. Set it on the deepest setting for the sod cutter. Then you want to go ahead and just cut the pieces just 18 inches. That's it. You know, take a 14-inch real heavy flat shovel and you could just go ahead and pick them up and put them aside. It'll go back together just like a puzzle. This is the best way to remove sod and then have the sod set aside in a manner to where it's really easy when the French drain system is complete to go ahead and just start putting the sod together just like a puzzle. That sod will go back in just the way it came out. You can see we took 2.5 inches of root with the turf. They do have sprinklers, so even in the drought, they'll be able to keep this alive over the French drain system. I've had people in the past ask this question before: how do your drains fare during the drought season? Yes, you do have to water where the French drain is. If you don't have sprinklers, in Michigan, July and August is our drought season. That's when you'd have to apply some water. That's the prescription. Add water, keep the sod alive, keep the sod healthy and happy. Most of the people that have us come and improve their drainage, they're really proud about their yards. They take really good care of their homes and their yards. So they're going to water one way or another to keep their bluegrasses looking really nice throughout the summer. Nobody here just lets their yard go dormant and look like a hayfield. So it's not a problem. But I've had people ask this, you know, call the office, email me, hey, I see your videos. Will the sod actually grow over your French drain system during the drought? You do have to water it. Through spring, fall, winter, no issues. Here in Michigan, we just have those couple of hot months where we don't get any rain. July and August, those are the 2 months where you do have to water periodically. And you can tell when it starts to dry and it needs a little bit of water. It lets you know. You can see it drying out. So there's some tips about how we take the sod off, how we go about building our drains. We don't need inlet basins because we build them this way. This is like one giant channel drain. There's no better French drain, period, than a gravel French drain built this way. The guys went ahead and they cut the sprinkler line. They'll get the French drain in. You can see the sod is in order. It goes together like a puzzle. We're the only ones building maintenance-free French drains. There's another sprinkler line. They cut it. They'll get the system in. We got into the mains over here, but the French drain needs to go where the French drain needs to go. So it's no big deal. I'm gonna go pick up a couple 100-foot rolls of it and we'll be fine. It goes together like adult Legos. And by the way, it's included in our price. We're full service installation company. So you can see just how methodical everything is done. The sod has been cut off, all of its root, cut really thick. The guys go ahead and take a shovel, cut it in manageable sections, and they just lean it up against the fence. We're the only ones building maintenance-free French drains that are fully contained, that last forever.
Once you cut the sod off, and you want the sod cutter to be set at the deepest notch, so you have a nice thick piece of turf and all its root, then you go ahead and you can start digging. I know that homeowners do a lot of hand dig for DIY. It's super easy to do hand dig in the spring. That's when the soil's saturated and clay just cuts like butter. So I really recommend a hand dig in the spring. Once you have your trench, then you have to go ahead and now line it with your nonwoven geotextile filter fabric. Notice how we take the fabric pins and we pin the fabric back. That's so when you dump the stone in with your wheelbarrow, it doesn't pull the fabric down to the bottom of the trench, because that is exactly what will happen. So you go ahead and take your fabric staples, just punch them right through. The guy's got a technique where they just kind of do a quick strike and they go right through. The 4 ounce especially. The 8 ounce is a little heavier, so you're going to have to work at that. So this is how you prep your trench. Now remember how we do things. We're going to put the French drain pipe at the bottom. That means it goes in before the stone. And if you have a sprinkler system, you want your French drain pipe underneath the sprinkler lines. So when you pull it, you want to pull it under all your sprinkler lines. If you did a hand dig, you probably don't have to do any repair. And again, if you do a hand dig in the spring, you're going to have to work in the mud, but I'm telling you, clay cuts like butter. All right, your next step, you want to pick a really good yard drain pipe. And there's only one purpose-built yard drain pipe out there, and it happens to be the high octane. It is the blue pipe. It has more inlet than any other pipe in the world, and it's the strongest single-wall corrugated pipe in the world. High octane was purpose-built just for yard drains and French drains. So you want to make sure that you use the very best pipe out there. After you've spent all that time digging out all that clay, you want to make sure that you benefit from all that sweat equity that you put into your yard drain projects. So we want to use the yard drain pipe that Baughman Tile Company makes, the high octane. We want to put that at the bottom. Now remember, this is stronger than PVC. This is stronger than PVC pipe. This is stronger than Schedule 40 PVC pipe. And I'm going to prove it. I'll prove it time and time again. Just subscribe to this channel and I will show you dozens of reasons why this pipe is stronger than PVC Schedule 40. So that will be in later videos. But as far as for your yard drain, make sure you use the right pipe, a pipe that's easy to work with, user-friendly, tons of flexibility. You don't have to wait for glue to dry. You literally just snap all the fittings together. You use a tile tape to make sure that in the freeze and thaw in the north, if the ground moves and shifts around new construction in the south, that nothing comes apart. All right, so now I want to show you how you go ahead and install the high octane, because you want to put this right on the fabric. You want this to be laying right on the fabric. You're going to have a better yard drain if you have more of the high octane in the trench. So the guys are taking the fabric pins and they're going ahead and stapling the fabric back so that they can get all the high octane in. Now this particular drain had 5 pipes in it, and all you have to do is just run them and put an end plug in the end. You can see where they just end and there's like an end plug there. That's it. So you don't want stone to fill the pipe. But what happens with high octane, because it has 17.25 square inches of inlet per linear foot, is the water just goes right through the top pipes into the bottom pipes, and you only need to connect one pipe, one of the bottom pipes, to the storm drain, or run it as your discharge to whatever your system requires. But that's how you use this pipe. This pipe is unique. This pipe is indestructible, and then you can just go ahead and put some stone over top. All right, so the end plugs that go in the Baughman high octane, that's what they look like. Everybody always says, how do you start out the drainage system? Right there. You just plug it. That's it. Internal end plug. Then you can take your fabric pins or staples and just staple them down. You can see that they went under the sprinkler lines right there. You can see how the sod's cut off and laid neatly to the one side. The right side of this trench is going to be super easy to put back together. So this has now been prepped and ready for stone. That would be the next step. You got your pipe at the bottom. Why do you want your pipe on the bottom? So that you drain all the water out of your system. When people tell you, oh, put 3-4 inches of stone down, then put down your yard drain pipe, that's bad information, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not going to get the water that's laying in that stone that's 3 inches underneath the yard drain pipe. You're not going to get that out of the trench. So the trees and shrubs in the yard, in the landscape, they sniff that water out, and the roots fill your yard drain, and now it has an expiration date. So that's why you want your pipe on the bottom of the trench. And that's how you start your yard drain pipe. Now, you can put bricks, blocks, I don't care what, on this pipe to keep it down when you're putting in the stone. That's definitely something that you have to be careful. You'll go to dump the stone in, and it'll push the pipe aside, and the stone will go up underneath the pipe, and you don't want that. So have somebody stand on the pipe, put cinder blocks on the pipe, whatever you want. I get this question asked all the time. Here we have this monster inlet. Look at the monster inlets on this yard drain pipe that Baughman Tile Company built. It's called the high octane. This pipe moves water faster than any other pipe in the world, and it's the strongest single wall pipe in the world. Now, I get asked all the time what stone to use with this pipe. So I like to use a really big stone. The reason why you put big stone with this, the bigger the stones, the bigger the voids, because you want to feed this pipe. You want to be able to move that water as fast as you can. If you evacuate the water quicker, then you get less soil saturation to your yard. And keep in mind, this French drain system, it works, believe it or not, 24/7, 365 days out of the year. It doesn't take a minute off. That's what's cool about a French drain system. People always ask me, what would you recommend, a yard drain or a French drain? Well, that depends. A yard drain just catches surface water in yard drain catch basins. That's all it does. A French drain, well, that's a different story. It's pulling water from the subsurface. It is pulling water 365 days out of the year from your soil in your yard so that your dog and your children, and you can enjoy this yard. You're not running around in that sloppy mess. If you're watching this, you need a French drain, I'm sure. If you're muddy, soft, squishy, yard drain, all that's going to do is get rid of those puddles. That's just going to take standing water away. That is it. But use big stone, nice 1.5-inch round rock, and make sure it's round rock. Search long and hard for round rock. If you can't find any round rock, well then 1.5 inch in crushed, but make sure it's screened, no fines in it.
I want to show you guys what a blind inlet looks like. Now this is a traditional blind inlet, guys. So we have the high octane running, 2 parallel pipes, the Baughman high octane, the royal blue, giant windows. Now you don't have to run pipe up into a pothole in the yard. If you have a big enough system and you can move all the water, you just have to dig out some of that poor percolating soil, get into that pothole, and just fill that with stone. The water will run through the stone into the pipes and out through your discharge. That's a traditional blind inlet. We've, of course, made some changes. You know, on top of the stone, we'll actually wrap the stone, and then we'll put a plastic grate so that you can blow the leaves off. You know, it's actually kind of known as a trash rack. That way you're not filling the stone full of garbage. And this blind inlet that'll have stone, this will be the same stone as the stone we're going to put in the French drain. Keep that stone free of as much debris as possible so that your flow rate stays up for years and years to come. We get a lot of questions about blind inlets. Today is really muddy. We've had just all night and all day rain. This past weekend was a wet one. So this grass will look great after a couple more rains, just from walking it in, stomping it in. It's a bit muddy. So there's a blind inlet. All right, so bang, look. Everybody's asking how we're doing this. I still want our non-woven geotextile double punched fabric filtering contaminants. So the water is going to go right through this. Yes, it's going to go through this extremely fast, extremely quick. This takes bulk water. That's why we do that, for bulk water. There's another blind inlet. There's going to be another one over here. This side's been all pieced together. Got a blind inlet. You can see how the grass just goes together like a puzzle. The guys that kept the side organized. And this works amazing. When this tree drops its leaves, you have to just hit it with a leaf blower, and that's it. Done. There's not dead worms. you know, just nasty garbage, having to use your shop vac to suck all that crap out. I mean, it's, look, I've been in the field for 3 decades, and I'm telling you, I don't have that at my house. I wouldn't deal with it. It's nasty. These blind inlets are the way to go. Now, we do some systems on the lake when water comes over the seawall. That's a little different, and I look forward to showing you that. You know, just stay tuned. When you go to do your burrito wrap of your French drain system, you want to make sure not to overlap. I've seen drains where they do a heavy overlap. The water flows through this filter fabric just fine. The filter fabric always has a gallons per minute rating. This filter fabric here is going to move water. It's going to move 140 gallons per minute through a square foot of it. So what we want to make sure is that we don't overlap. Sure, we want to pull them together. We want to keep the dirt out, but we don't want to have a bunch of extra filter fabric. We're just overlapping on top of one another, because that is going to create a problem. And actually, that will slow down your drains. So once in a while, you're going to have to enter the drain. You're going to have cable, AT&T, Comcast, sprinklers too. You got to make way for them. And there's just really no getting around that. You know, you have to work with that. For more tips, tricks, subscribe.
A question that we have asked all the time, and it's a good question. This pipe has all these holes in it. How does it hold water? And I get that. I could see where that would be a problem. But we're not trying to move water in a pipe, say, you know, across your floor joists because it's indoor plumbing. That's different. You need a solid pipe for that. No, this is different. So your yard drain pipe in a French drain, it's surrounded by stone. So the pipe itself is the greatest void in the French drain system. So you want a pipe that's going to take in water from 360 degrees, all around, sides, top, bottom. You want it to take in water from everywhere, and that is the giant void. Now, we like to put 2, 3, 4 pipes in a trench because we're creating more void. We're going to move more water. So I gave a brief explanation on how this works in a video, and I'm going to put it on the end for a bonus footage.
Our subscribers are crazy intelligent. I just love it. You guys ask the best questions, and they're legit. So here's one that I get asked a lot, so I'm going to explain it. People are always saying, how does the water move in the pipe when there's all these holes? Because the thought behind it is, does the water just fall out as easy as it goes in? So I get that. That's legit, guys. Trying to figure out how this pipe works, don't screw yourself into the ground, man. It's this simple. We wanted these big outlets for 2 reasons. One, the water goes right into this pipe, and this pipe acts as a giant void. Just like we go up in size on aggregate, the larger the aggregate, the bigger the voids. Say you don't have big aggregate available to you. Say you get stuck using small stone. Well, then it's even more important that you put 2 pipes in, because you create the voids. This is a giant void, 2 4-inch pipes. That is a monster void in your system. And I'm going to teach you some more stuff here in this video real quick, because the guys want to start putting stone in. Now over here we're going to have a T, and the discharge is going to go to the storm drain. With these big inlets in the high octane, the water collected in this pipe just passes through into this pipe. Now we're going to put a T here, but that's how we do it. People always say, hey, what's going on here? You're not connecting these 2 pipes. Well, it's a big void. It's like having monster aggregate. You'd have to have 12-inch or 18-inch, you know, brown rock to create the kind of voids we're creating. So that is what we do here. Now, see how big these voids are? Any dirt or contaminants will pass right through these voids. They'll pass right through these pipes. Can you believe that? It's awesome. That's why we had Boffman Tile open up the inlets on the high octane. We love the yellow and it moves water, you know, it really does, but it doesn't move dirt like the high octane does. So we love it because what we're finding out is not everybody's getting good washed stone, and they're cutting corners. They're cutting corners because washing stone, that costs a lot of money to put stone through a wash plant. So people are getting stone that's already kind of compromised. It's got dirt in it. Even we have been getting stone, that's why I know, and it costs a lot of money in diesel fuel to run a wash plant. So if these guys can sell you the stone at the same price and don't have to put it through that last step, they save a small fortune. So here's the sprinkler poking through. We've been getting a lot of questions. See, it's ready to, now that these pipes are in, we'll be able to attach that and then put the stone in. And right now, Francisco's putting a solid, this is for the gutters. All the downspouts are ran to the solid, and you always want your solid pipe on top, your perforated pipe down below. Water runs downhill. The only kind of water that comes up is flood water. So that's why your perf pipes have to be at the bottom. So remember, this is a big void. Water just passes right through it because of these monster inlets. Also, the dirt in the stone that you buy, I love when our systems run on their very first hard rain. The reason why I love that, because the water just comes out so muddy, so dirty. And then as the system ages, the water starts coming out like it's from a mountain stream. It's clear as can be. So that's why these monster inlets for yard drains are a must. Now, you couldn't use these monster inlets on the farm because you don't have any aggregate. They don't build them with stone. And the other thing, when you open up a pipe with this large inlet and you use a big machine like a tile plow to put it in, you're going to probably rip that pipe. Honestly, this pipe's so strong, you probably could do it, but Boffman Tile wants me to tell you, farmers, do not use high octane with your tile plows. Use the 8-slot yellow premium. And again, guys, this pipe on top is for downspout water, and we just want to run it as far away as we can. We want to get it as close to the storm drain as we can, and there we go. It's that simple. So this pop-up will have the material fabric, the stone will come up to here, and then we'll do the material fabric, we'll cut it out, and then we'll put the sod right up to it. So shingle, gravel, and leaves that come off the roof, they just end up in the grass, and the lawnmower will just mulch that. It won't be an issue. You'll never even see it. You'll never even know it's there.